I grew up when DC was Chocolate City
Oh, yeah.
and when it was Black excellence.
Mm-hmm.
My father was part of the first administration that had home rule.
Mm.
And so I grew up believing and seeing that Black people were
Mm-hmm.
the shit,
The shit.
right? The shit.
Indeed.
And it
Yes.
was the expectation with my family
Wow.
that we would be the shit
Mm-hmm.
and that we would surround ourselves. And that too is a gift to be
Mm.
able to see that. I think when you and I first talked, and we talked about burden, as we were talking about, you're
Yes.
raising your children, I'm raising my children. And I said that my parents had unencumbered me.
Mm.
And you said, like, what does that mean? Like, what does
Mm-hmm.
that weightlessness mean? And, I lived in an all Black neighborhood, little Black Mayberry.
Mm-hmm.
I went to an elementary school that started white but turned Black.
Okay.
I went to an all white high school. I went to an all white college. Um, so I grew up around white people, but I was never particularly interested in,
Mm.
uh, enamored with, in awe
Mm-hmm.
of, um, impressed by. uh,
Should we keep
right? I mean,
going?
impressed by, and really importantly, angry with
Oh.
or afraid of.
Oh, see.
You underestimate what these jobs and what this life does to your body.
Oh.
I mean, everybody tells you got to do this and you have to do that, but the impact that these jobs have on the vessel,
Mm.
on your physical body, the stamina you have to have. And what I learned from those 72 hours is that we can show up looking like all of this,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to take care of this vessel that God gave you.
Mm.
And you've got to nurture it and care for it. And that's what she did. She
Mm.
ate well, she slept well, she
Mm.
exercised, she meditated.
Mm.
And I have tried to do that because you can show up doing all the things, but unless this is tight, it doesn't matter.
Wow.
And it's also what it didn't mean to me.
Mm.
I have never been a person who set professional goals. I never said, by the time I'm this age, I want to be doing this. And so I never had in my mind, I want to be a CEO.
Right.
However, in my industry, which is overwhelmingly white
Mm-hmm.
and overwhelmingly female and
Mm-hmm.
white, I did over the years watch so many people that didn't look like me ascend to that role.
Mm.
Many, of course, by merit, but
Mm.
so many because of who they knew,
Yes.
because of who they played tennis or golf with,
Yes.
because of who had mentored them or sponsored them, or
Mm.
because they were liked by a particular person. And for me, knowing that I did not ascend through any of those routes and by merit, um, it meant so much to me.
Ambitious Black girls, I am so excited. Today, we are sitting down with a woman whose career has defined what power and purpose looks like. Lisa Osborne Ross is a trailblazer in every sense of the word. Lisa is the former U.S. CEO of Edelman, one of the world's largest public relations firms, where she led during one of the most transformative moments in modern history, a time of racial reckoning, societal change, and rising expectations for how brands respond to culture. She is also the first and only Black person to ever ascend to the CEO position at a global PR firm. Under her leadership, Edelman pushed for more inclusive storytelling and deeper accountability, challenging an industry that remains overwhelmingly white to see and serve the full spectrum of America. Before Edelman, Lisa spent over 15 years at Ogilvy Public Relations, where she led the flagship office at APCO Worldwide and multiple roles in the Clinton administration, from the Department of Labor to the White House Office of Women's Initiatives. Her career is a masterclass in influence spanning government, business, and public policy, always rooted in the belief that communication is not just about perception, it's also about power. Lisa's work has earned her recognition from Essence, Business Insider, PR Week, and as a Forbes 50 over 50 for her fearless leadership, her human centered approach to corporate culture, and her unwavering commitment to equity. But what makes her story so resonant isn't just her resume, it's also her ability to hold power with grace. and to redefine what leadership looks like for Black women in spaces that were not built for us. In this episode, we talk about the lessons she learned from her parents who raised her without limitations. We talk about the price of representation, the myth of fearlessness, and how she has learned to balance power with peace. Lisa, thank you so much for being here.
Damn, that was such a nice introduction. I would have come out just for that, girl. That was lovely.
I appreciate it. All I did was tell the truth, though.
Yeah, it was nice, though. It was really nice to hear, especially coming from you. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. All right, Lisa, I love to start these conversations from the beginning to
Hmm.
understand what grounds you, what influenced you growing up, where you came from. So take us back to your childhood and describe for us what kind of environment you grew up in. What did your home feel like?
You know, when people receive awards and the first thing they say is, I want to give grace and glory and all thanks to God. I want to do that,
Mm,
but I also want to give it to Thelma Little Osborne and to Daniel Henry Osborne.
mm,
My parents were the most remarkable people, like ever.
mm,
And they created an environment in our household that was ordained, created for greatness. And their definition of greatness was to do well by doing good.
mm,
They were two Southerners that met at Howard University.
mm,
My dad went to Xavier.
mm,
He was a Mumford Point Marine, and then he came to Howard to go to the pharmacy school in GI Bill.
mm,
My mother had to drop out of West Virginia State her senior year because her family ran out of money.
mm,
But every single one of them had been college educated. And she came to DC to follow her sisters, and they met on campus. And of that union, four of us were born, and they were committed to the four of us doing well and by doing good. And they told us and were clear and instilled in us that the only way that we would do well was by
mm,
serving God and serving the community at large. And they gave us the skills and the confidence to do well. And I'm
mm,
grateful to them every single day.
mm. That sounds beautiful, really. Was there a lot of reading in your home, table, discussions around the dinner table? What was it like?
You know, it was I describe my neighborhood as Black Mayberry.
Oh, okay.
You
I can
know,
get with
I
that.
describe my
Yeah.
neighborhood as Black Mayberry. I mean, yeah, my parents worked. It was a comfortable, you know, comfortable middle class life. So I'd love to say that we sat around and read Yeats and shared copies of Ebony and Essence magazine. But girl, we were working.
Right.
You know, my parents were working, and we all went to private Catholic schools, and so we
Mm,
were studying. But the time that we spent together was filled with a lot of laughter and a lot of
mhm,
love. But we challenged each other.
mm.
We debated. We talked politics. I remember my husband first came into our lives, and he was like, "Damn, I cannot get a word in with y'all." And I was like, yeah, well, step up
Y-
because
Get
this
in
is
there.
how to get in there because this is how we communicate.
Yeah.
But we challenged each other and we learned and we read and we disagreed. And our parents taught us that.
Mm,
And that's how, I see the world,
mm,
that you have to ask questions, you have to challenge, you have to believe, and you have to make a difference.
mm. How beautiful is that? Did you grow up in, where did you grow up?
I'm a native Washingtonian. I'm a
Wow.
native, and before you say there's none of you, there's so many of us.
No, I
There,
have family
yeah,
who
that's
are
right. There's so, and I
Washingtonians.
grew up when DC was Chocolate City,
Oh, yeah.
and when it was Black excellence.
Mm-hmm.
My father was part of the first administration that had home rule,
Mm,
and so I grew up believing and seeing that Black people were
mm-hmm.
the shit,
The shit.
right? The shit,
Indeed.
and it
Yes.
was the expectation with my family
Wow.
that we would be the shit
Mm-hmm.
and that we would surround ourselves. And that too is a gift to be
Mm,
able to see that. I think when you and I first talked and we talked about burden as we were talking about you're
yes.
raising your children, I'm raising my children. And I said that my parents had unencumbered me.
Mm,
And you said, like, what does that mean? Like, what does
mm-hmm.
that weightlessness mean? And, I lived in an all Black neighborhood, little Black Mayberry.
Mm-hmm.
I went to an elementary school that started white but turned Black.
Okay.
I went to an all white high school. I went to an all white college. Um, so I grew up around white people, but I was never particularly interested in,
Mm,
uh, enamored with, in awe
mm-hmm.
of. Um, impressed by. uh,
Should we keep
right. I mean,
going?
impressed by, and really importantly, angry with
Oh,
or afraid of.
oh, see,
That's a big thing.
yes.
Afraid of or angry with, that rage may have come later.
Mm,
And so they were just like whatever to me.
mm,
And so when I hear people say I didn't, I'm uncomfortable walking into a room, I'm like, I'm good
mm,
because they're just people to me.
mm,
And so, and I think that, now I'm a girl in a family of all boys.
mhm,
Now I know my parents had to have that conversation with my brothers,
mm,
be careful. Don't say this, watch your back,
yeah.
put your hands on the wheel, do this. But with me, they were like, baby, go on in there.
Mm.
Go on in there. And what I loved about the difference of my parents, my father was a girl dad before there was like the thing.
Oh, before
He
there were
was
girl
he was
dads.
like 42 when he had me, and he was like, what have I done? Look at me. Look what I have done. I
Oh,
have created this
wow.
baby girl. And he believed and convinced me that
Oh,
I could do anything. And my mother, on the other hand, was like, girl, I'm watching you.
mhm,
I'm
mhm,
watching
mhm.
you. And my favorite story with them was we were driving down North Capitol Street in DC, and there used to be like an old women's penitentiary there.
Yeah.
And I had done something as usual. And my mother was like, girl, that's where you're going to end up. And my father said, but you're going to be running that shit. And that's how
That
I
is
grew
the
up.
best
Isn't that the best
story.
story? Isn't that the best story? And it's my favorite story. And it's such an example of how I grew up and the gift of weightlessness that my
What
parents
a
gave me.
gift. When we talked about that gift of weightlessness, you talked about what they didn't teach you, what
Yeah.
they didn't tell you, because so many of us get reared around what you shouldn't do, what
Yes.
you can't do, how you should act, and it's out of love
Yes.
and protection.
Yes.
But you also talk about your parents not burdening you with that.
Yeah. They didn't tell me, they didn't say, baby, when you walk in that room, people are going to expecting you to fail. Or baby, when you
Mm,
walk in that room, they don't expect you to be there. They never burdened me with that. But
mm,
because when you walk into that room with that extra burden, you have to
mm-hmm.
take that off
Right.
and then put your stuff back on. So I was able to just walk right in with that.
Mm.
And that was a gift.
Oh,
But
yeah.
they do it because they love us. You and I were just talking about,
Mm-hmm.
you showed me that beautiful picture of your daughter, and that
Yeah.
girl is like nothing but confidence. She was like from
Yeah.
head to toe. She
Yeah.
was like, what? But not in a disrespectful, but in a
No.
confident, like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm here. I'm
Mm-hmm.
here.
Mm-hmm.
And you said when you were growing up, you had to like, okay, I'm ready to get in there. And I said to you, the gift that you have given your
Mm.
child, the generational change that you have been able to bring about just in one generation of you preparing a Black girl to walk into a room like she owns it,
Oh,
like it's her gift, that is hers, she owns that.
yeah. Yeah.
And so for us, so many of us, we get in there and we can do it, but first we got to take the armor off.
First, we have to take
First
it
we have to
off.
not be afraid. First we have to overcome feeling unwelcome. And my parents always were like, girl, that's for you. So go in
Mm,
there and get yours.
mm, mm. That is so powerful and it means so much. Like, do you think that we unintentionally do our children a disservice by raising them with that sort of protection?
I think we have to in some cases.
Yeah.
I think we have to. Like as a parent of two now grown children, look, I don't question anybody's parenting skills because
Mm,
I know at the end of the day, we all are doing the best that we can.
yeah, we are.
We are making the best decisions that we can. And I know a volume of men and women who were raised to be careful, and
Mm-hmm.
they have done well. I think the gift that my parents gave me is I just didn't have to. I didn't have so much baggage.
Mm.
Many of us ended up in the same place. I was just able to get there with a little bit more ease.
More
Yeah,
ease and
and
lightness.
lightness. Yes,
Oh, I
yeah,
love that.
yeah,
And that is the gift that I want to give my children.
yes,
And I do feel like I'm breaking generational
yes,
curses with
yes. You
raising
have.
them.
You already have. You
Yeah.
already have. I saw the
Yeah.
picture.
Oh,
I saw her.
just her best life all the time. All the time. So you shared, I was doing my research.
Okay.
You shared that there was a pivotal Black Studies class that you took in undergrad. You went
Mm-hmm.
to Marquette,
Mm-hmm.
where it changed your view of power. I think you all were having a class discussion about discrimination.
Yes.
And tell me more
I'm
about
so
that
glad you
experience.
remembered that story because it was it, you know, like you have these like life moments,
Mm,
and that was a life moment for me. So as I said, I grew up in an environment like in my high school, which I went to my reunion the other day, and I was the class vice president,
mm-hmm.
and uh, I was in a nurturing environment. I was in an environment where I was seen, where I was
Right.
understood, where I could lead, I could be myself, and and of course, and I'm growing up in this black city where we have power,
Mm-hmm.
and I grew up in an environment where my parents' friends who were black, they did not like some white people, and
Mm-hmm.
they looked down on some white people, and they were now I know that they could not be racist because of the story I'm about to
Mm-hmm.
tell, but
Mm-hmm.
they were like, I don't like you either. And so in this Black Studies class, we were talking about racism. And, I was bold enough to raise my little hand and say, well, I know a lot of black people that don't like white people too. Is that
Mm-hmm.
racist? And many heads turned around.
They
But
said, who said that?
who said that? And the black instructor, with such patience
Mm,
and care, said to me, let me explain the difference.
yes.
When you don't like them, you just don't like them. But when they don't like you, they can keep you from coming to their school.
Mm-hmm.
They can keep you from getting a bank loan.
Mm-hmm.
They can keep you from getting a job.
Mm-hmm.
They can keep you from moving into their neighborhood because they hold the power. You don't
Right.
have any power, little
Right.
girl.
Right.
And so for me, it was like, whoosh,
Mm,
you can dislike all you want, but you have to have power to act on it. And that's where discrimination and racism actually means something. So you can
exactly.
dislike whomever you want, but until you have power to execute on that dislike, it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
And that was an eye opening experience for me. And I have acted accordingly ever since.
Mm, that's what makes racism structural and
Absolutely.
systemic
And systemic and institutional.
and institutional.
And
Absolutely.
institutional, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's a good segue to my next question. You once spent 72 hours with the civil rights icon, Rosa Parks, shadowing her during a trip to DC. W- that's one just wild. What did you learn from that experience, and have you carried anything from that with you since?
One, you have like the best memory. Like I can't believe we I told you that in a Starbucks,
You
and
did.
so I can't believe
Yeah.
you remember that. You know what's interesting about that? It's not what you would think.
Uh
Her mere presence is elegance
mm,
and legacy and empowerment. But what I took from that was the importance of caring for the vessel that showcases excellence
mm.
and empowerment and grace. She's a vegan. And
I didn't know that.
what I spent most of my time doing was taking her around DC to find restaurants where she could eat. What I spent most of my time doing is making sure that she had enough room and time in her day to get her walk in to exercise.
Huh.
And we spent time like, just having a little meditation and prayer. And
Mm.
she never really said that to me. But what I realized, and then, I took her to these big events. She was having her bust, a bust of her accomplishments was being installed by the Artist Lane at the Smithsonian. But what I said to myself, this is like one of the greatest, as you
Mm.
said, civil
Mm-hmm.
rights icons. But this woman is caring for herself because, and I learned
Mm.
you have to care for the vessel.
Wow.
And this is something that you and I have talked about, and something I've shared with you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't you underestimate what these jobs and what this life does to your body.
Oh.
I mean, everybody tells you you got to do this and you have to do that, but the impact that these jobs have on the vessel,
Mm.
on your physical body, the stamina you have to have. And what I learned from those 72 hours is that we can show up looking like all of this,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to take care of this vessel that God gave you.
Mm.
And you've got to nurture it and care for it. And that's what she did. She
Mm.
ate well, she slept well, she
Mm.
exercised, she meditated.
Mm.
And I have tried to do that because you can show up doing all the things, But unless this is tight, it doesn't matter.
Wow. What a beautiful lesson to learn that early
Yes.
in your career.
I can't say I always followed it, but I tried.
But you observed it, and it's
Yes.
something you probably came back to later,
Yeah.
especially for someone who was instrumental in the civil rights
Yes.
movement. I mean,
Yes.
one of the civil rights
Yes.
movements. Let's
Yeah.
not act like
Right. Let's not act like it's
it's all
over.
done.
Right.
But that can really take a toll on you,
Yes.
right? Like
Yeah.
that burden, that the fighting, the resistance, the just all of it. And so to hear about how she poured into herself to be
Yes.
able to
Yes.
navigate that.
Yes. And I think it was
Mm,
also like leading by example.
mm.
She was like, I don't have time to like talk to you. She was
Oh,
lovely. She was
yeah.
lovely, but it was like it is more important
Mm,
to show rather than to say.
mm,
And that's what she did. She showed me
mm,
how to live rather than she was like, look, you know the history. You know what I've
mm.
done.
You
You
know
know
what
where
I
I
did?
sat. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't need to tell you that. But
Oh,
I see you are a young sister. I was a young mother at the time.
yeah.
I see you're a young sister. So let me show you another part of life, which you're not going to see
Wow.
in the history books. Let me show you that part. And that's why I loved that time with her. And that's why I saw it as such a gift.
You taught me something about her. I never knew that. I never knew that. It's the stuff that I've read in the history
Right,
books. That's what
right,
I know about her.
right,
But I never knew that side of
right,
her.
right. She's human.
Mm. Wow. Wow. So I want to transition to your corporate career. Talk about climbing that ladder, girl. And career evolution and some defining moments that you've had along the way. You have held powerful positions in government, in public affairs, and corporate. How do you think each of these chapters prepared you for leading ultimately at Edelman as the U.S. CEO there?
I said, I've said to anyone who is interested in doing what I
Mm,
uh, do all of these things.
mm,
Understand how government works at the local, state, and federal level, and increasingly in this world, state and
mhm.
local,
Oh yeah.
because that's where action is increasingly going to and has to take place because the federal government is not working. So I
Mm,
had that experience. Um, I have said that you have to understand advocacy,
mm,
you have to understand lobbying, and you have to understand how corporations work. I
mm,
had the honor of one time being on a call with Michelle Obama as the
mm.
administration was ending, and someone said, you were clearly familiar with all branches of government. Which do you think is the most effective? And she said, um, corporate America.
That's what she said.
That's what she said, because corporations have the bandwidth, they have the money, they have the resources to drive change.
Yeah.
And it was such an interesting thing. And so, what I learned from all of those aspects is that
Mm,
not one entity can deliver anything alone. It's the integration of
mm.
all of those different entities. And that's where you drive success. And so, your ability to be familiar with and conversant in all of those things, I think, has prepared me well.
Wow. I don't know that corporations understand the weight of the role that they carry in progress, like societal change and progress. I think it's often deferred to government at the federal, state, local level.
For the past 10 years, there's been a lot written about the
Mm.
role of corporations,
Mm-hmm.
and the beautiful burden,
Mm.
I say, that they have. I think, things are so different now, and I think they are deciding what role they want to play.
Mm.
But you talk about being unencumbered. In many ways, they are unencumbered. They can do as
Mm-hmm.
they choose.
Mm-hmm.
And those who choose, those brands that choose to have values, to have
Mm.
vision, and to live by those vision and
Mm.
values, historically or in the past several years, they are the ones, because for the past several years, we have been brand value consumers and customers and employees. And so those brands they have benefited from it.
Right.
It's a different worldview now.
Mm.
And so I think things are so dynamic and they're changing, but I think corporations play a really big role, but they can't do it alone. Government has to play a role. Nonprofits have to play a role. So
Yes.
the integration of those, and I think my ability and comfort level in all of those arenas has served me well.
Mm. As the first Black person to lead a major PR firm, what did that appointment to that role symbolize to you, both personally and professionally?
I've had time to think about that since
Mm,
I am no longer in that role, and it meant a lot to me.
yeah.
It meant a lot to me because of my background. It didn't. It's also what it didn't mean to me.
Mm,
I have never been a person who set professional goals. I never said, by the time I'm this age, I want to be doing this. And so I never had in my mind, I want to be a CEO.
right.
However, in my industry, which is overwhelmingly white and
Mhm,
overwhelmingly female and white,
mhm,
I did over the years watch so many people that didn't look like me ascend to that role.
mm,
Many, of course, by merit, but
mhm.
so many because of who they knew,
Yes.
because of who they played tennis or golf with,
Yes.
because of who had mentored them or sponsored them, or
Mm,
because they were liked by a particular person. And for me, knowing that I did not ascend through any of those routes and by merit, um, it meant so much to me.
mm,
And I kept thinking about my parents were both deceased at that time.
mm.
And I just kept thinking, this is what my parents trained me for. This is why they poured into me. This is what they expected of me.
Yes.
And the reason it meant something to me, particularly at that time, because it was post COVID, it was
Mm,
when the display of the murder of Black people was on national, international display. It was after the murder of George Floyd,
yes.
um, which is, isn't it interesting? We haven't heard one thing about the murder of Black men and women, and it's still happening,
Oh, of course.
but you don't hear anything about it.
No.
But because of all of these things, as you said, the challenges that the nation was facing right now,
Mm,
the reason it meant so much to me is that one, I was able to showcase Black excellence.
mhm,
I was able to showcase Black power. I was able to say to the world, people that look like us, and very importantly, people that don't, this is what merit looks like. And it
mm,
also gave me a platform to speak truth to power.
mm.
And so, for those reasons, it meant a lot to me.
Oh gosh.
And because people like you that I hadn't talked to or heard from, like the volume of love and support
Mhm.
that I received worldwide. I mean, people are like, go, go,
Go,
go, go,
Lisa, go,
Lisa,
go,
go, go.
go,
And
go.
it was just like, I was like, oh my God. Now,
Yeah,
there were also people who were like,
of course, because people are
I
people.
hope you don't make it.
Mhm.
But for the most part, I felt such love.
Mm,
And again, because of how I was raised, I heard, as loud as it may have been, I
mhm.
didn't hear a lot of the other
Very.
stuff.
Yeah.
I mostly heard Go Lisa Go.
Oh, I love that. And we should tell folks how we met as well, like
You should tell folks how we met.
how this even came to be. So randomly, I walk into a Starbucks.
No, go back
Oh gosh, the first
to
time.
Ogilvy
The first time. Okay. All right.
because your story was the cutest story.
I'll tell you the
Yeah,
original story. So I interviewed for a job at Ogilvy,
right.
and I don't even remember. It was like some PR
Yeah.
assistant. Way,
You were
way,
a
way, way.
baby.
I was a baby.
You were a
I was a
little
baby,
baby.
y'all. And I interviewed for this job, and I go in and I interview with Lisa, and just was so taken by your demeanor, right? Like you clearly were very confident, very knowledgeable, also very warm and graceful. Like I
Mm,
remember being struck by your demeanor. And so ever since then, I've followed your career. I did not get the job. Okay.
because you weren't supposed to get the
I wasn't
job.
supposed to get that
Right. You
job
weren't supposed to
either.
get
I
that
wasn't
job.
supposed to get that job, but I didn't get it. But I think the purpose was for
Us
me
to
to
meet.
meet you,
Yes.
for me to meet you. So that was forever ago, forever and ever ago, pre kids, forever. And then fast forward to
Like literally 25 years later, maybe? 20
not
years later?
not that long, maybe
Maybe.
almost 20,
Almost
because
20.
I have been working
Yeah.
about 20
Almost
years.
20
It was
years later.
almost
And
20
then I'll
years.
pick it up. And then my daughter was moving into an apartment in Brookland, and I'm
Yes.
at the Starbucks, and I see
Yes.
this beautiful woman walk in with her children in their Christmas things.
Yeah.
And we were like, wait, what? Hi. But what struck me about you was you had these children
Hmm.
and you were mommy mode.
Oh, yeah.
You were total mommy mode,
Yeah.
but we connected, and it was just like we had seen each other.
Uh-huh.
And you told me what you were doing, and I had such immense pride in the person that you had blossomed
Oh,
and you had
wow.
become. And then
Thank
we agreed
you.
to keep in touch, and it took us 2 years to schedule this, but we got it.
And now we're here. Isn't that amazing?
It was great. It's great.
Talk about alignment. I
Yeah.
love that
It's
story.
it's it's what's supposed to be.
It's supposed to
It's supposed
be.
to be. That's what happens.
Exactly.
Whatever's supposed to be is what happens.
I'm learning to just trust
Yes.
and stop trying to control so
Yes.
much,
Yes, absolutely.
right? I want more of that ease
And
and
it
that
also makes it
flow.
easier.
Mm,
When you turn it over, it makes it a lot easier.
yes. Ooh. So I do want to talk about your relationship with Richard Edelman a little bit. He's the global CEO of Edelman. And it strikes me as one of him having like deep respect for you, deep admiration for you. Um, I'm curious what that dynamic with him was like behind the scenes when you were CEO of Edelman from US CEO from 2021 to 2023.
Richard's superpower has
Mm.
always been to be able to identify what the market needs
Mm-hmm.
and what an organization needs.
Mm.
In 2020 to 2023, what the market needed and would respond to was somebody like me,
Yeah.
and what the organization needed was somebody
Well,
like me.
somebody like
Richard
you.
saw that, so he put me in role.
Yeah.
Richard knows and knew that I was a person that would lead with independence,
Mm-hmm.
integrity,
Mm.
values, um, equity,
Mm-hmm.
fairness. And that style of leadership led to record breaking revenue,
Mm.
allowed Richard to meet his family goal of reaching $1 billion in revenue because the
Wow.
U.S. was the largest revenue generator, and of being named Agency of the Year.
Mm.
And so when I left, Edelman had all of those assets because of my leadership and his understanding that my leadership would lead to those things. Now, you noted in the front end that Edelman's the largest. They are no longer the largest. But when I left, because Richard believed and
Mm-hmm.
understood that my leadership would deliver those things, it did. And
Wow.
so, one of the things that I know as a leader, let people do their jobs.
Mm.
You've got to, when you put people in play, let them do their jobs. Let them
Yes.
do their best jobs. And, and when you do, you get good results.
Yeah.
And you stay together as long as you can. And when it works, it works. And when it doesn't, you got to move on.
Mm.
And that's what actually would happen with us.
Mm. That's my next question. I want to understand more about what led you to step away from that role in 2023.
Yeah.
You went on a leave and then came back and I think resigned.
I went on a leave and then I just didn't come back and I resigned. When I was that summer before, when I was on vacation, I did a lot of soul searching.
Yeah.
And it's funny, we haven't talked about faith, which is a big part of my life and how I make decisions. And I ran into one of my family friends in church on Martha's Vineyard. I'd spent 2 weeks up there. And I had this beautiful conversation with him going into church. And he said, the most important thing is to know when it's time.
Mm.
And I thought to myself, I have given all that I can give. I have gotten everything that I can get, which is also important. Sometimes we give a lot, but
And
we don't get back. I'm very good about getting back.
Ooh.
So, yeah,
I want to talk
keep
about
that.
that.
Keep
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I had given everything that I could. I had gotten everything that I could. I had taken the agency as far as I could, and it was just time. It was time to do something different for myself, and it was time for them to move on to a different track.
Mm. What did you get from that
Oh my
role?
God. When I was there, whenever I do staff meetings, I love music. I always say I love music, and I always have like a setup song.
Okay.
And my chief of staff said, "What would your setup song be?" And I said it would have been that song from Dirty Dancing. I've had the time of my life. Like I literally, those 5 years were some of the best 5 years of my
Hmm.
career. But I have to say, every job I've had
Hmm.
has been a fantastic job because I'm really careful about, I don't really choose things. We'll talk about that later, but I let God
Hmm.
put me in places.
Hmm.
I listen and I let him put me in places. And I also know when it's not right to leave.
Hmm.
And so we had record breaking success. We worked on remarkable campaigns. I worked with some incredibly smart, innovative, creative people. Um, I just had fun.
Hmm.
I traveled all over the world. We had major impact. We changed things.
Yeah.
We made people healthier. We
Hmm.
made people safer. We improved the lives of people with some of the work that we were doing.
Hmm.
We made companies more profitable.
Hmm.
And I had so much fun doing it. I said to my
Hmm.
friend Bobby Cordano when I met her, she said, "Why do you love your job so much?" I said, "Because 85% of the time I'm like, fuck, I can't believe they're paying me to have this much fun." Now the other
Wow.
15% I'm like, I could
Right.
snap your head off
I think
and
that's for
keep it moving.
most.
I could
Hmm.
snap your head off, put it in my purse and keep moving. But 85% of the time,
Hmm.
it was fantastic.
Hmm.
And I think people owe themselves that.
Hmm.
I think you owe yourselves to be happy at work and to enjoy yourself. So I got a lot out of it. I grew. I learned how to manage something of that magnitude. We had layoffs. I had to learn how to
Hmm.
manage that. We did a restructuring. I
Hmm.
had to manage a lot of that. I managed during COVID. My
Hmm.
God,
Hmm.
once in a lifetime
Hmm.
opportunity. We starting to do back to work. It was just a very tumultuous time.
Hmm.
And to be able to lead at that time the largest global communications agency in the world and the largest function of that, that was a gift.
Yeah.
And to be able to do it when I had the confidence of
Hmm.
leadership,
Hmm.
it was amazing.
Mm.
It was amazing. So I got a lot out of it. I got a lot.
How
And I
much?
got paid.
And you got
I'm
paid,
sorry. And I got paid,
which is also very
which is
important.
also very important.
How much of so you speaking about your experience is one, it's incredible to hear. Two, it's also very different than I think many Black
Yeah.
women would describe their
Yeah.
experience in corporate. And I'm curious, do you think that was the opportunities you had, like the opportunities themselves, or was it your outlook? Like, how much do you think your outlook played a
Hey,
role?
I'm so glad you said that. So I'm a glass half full person.
Mm.
Um, and I think part of my superpower is that a lot of pain,
Mm.
a lot of hits, a lot of shit
Mm-hmm.
sometimes goes over my head.
Mm.
But let me be clear, it was hard.
Yeah.
And people were gunning.
Mm.
And, I would sit in meetings and I would, the diversity goals and the commitments and things that we it all agreed to. After a while, people started rolling their eyes.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I saw that happen.
Yeah. There was, people started to backstab.
Mm. Mm.
There were, and not just at Edelman, but in all of the agencies that I've been in, there were times where I had a white boss one time who, after I'd been passed over for a job repeatedly,
Mm.
when I finally was like, I'm out if I don't get this job. When he made me the head of a public affairs practice, he told me his comfort level was because he had gone to the white men that would be reporting to me and they were good with it. They were okay with it, but he felt that he had to. So let me be
No,
abundantly clear.
it wasn't easy.
Oh, girl, it wasn't easy.
No.
It wasn't easy at all. But I get what I'm going to get.
Mm.
And that's why I'm very clear with people. You're going to give a lot, so don't ever walk out of a room. Don't ever walk out of a situation without getting everything that you put into it.
Oh.
So believe me, yeah, I would have, had my happy song, but I promise you,
Mm-hmm.
there were times where it was dark and it was bleak, and there were just a small group of people that I could depend on, and
Mm.
even in that, there were those people that I couldn't depend on, and there were
Mm.
times where it's lonely.
Mm.
It's lonely. And then you realize that not everybody that looks like you is for you.
Yeah.
We've talked about
Oh,
that.
yeah.
And then you realize that some people that, you think are against you are the ones that are helping you and pulling for you. And at the end of the day, it's a business.
Mm.
People get confused. Some of my closest friends are people that I met at work, but these are alliances. These are not friends. Your workplace is not a family.
Mm.
When people are like, "What's up, fam?" I'm like, "Cool." But we're not. My fam is back home.
Right.
And so you have to distinguish between those things. So
Mm.
it's hard, but life is hard.
Mm.
And you can either choose to be wallow in life is hard, or you can be like, shit, look, the shit is hard, but I'm going to get my stuff. I'm going to get my platform. I'm going to get my people taken care of. I'm going to get paid.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a good time.
Yeah.
And then I'm out.
Oh,
And so, but I control that.
I appreciate that
I
outlook.
control it. I will not let somebody else control my destiny. I control it.
That's going to be a soundbite right there. Clip it. It's going to be a soundbite.
You're so funny.
So let's talk about fearlessness,
Yeah.
right? The strong Black woman trope or the
Yeah.
fearlessness. I want to talk about that because we've spoken privately about
Yeah.
the fallacy of fearlessness, especially for us.
Mm-hmm.
And really in everything that's at home,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's at work. And I'm curious what that means to you when you hear fallacy of fearlessness and how you've had to live your life.
I hate it.
Mm,
I hate this concept of fearlessness.
yeah.
We're not Well, why should I have to be fearless?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not fearless. I'm afraid.
Yeah.
I worry. I don't know. All of the things that I'm allowed to be.
Mm,
And I think that they put this trope on Black women, and I think we put it on ourselves. I was
yeah.
in the car with 3 of my best friends coming back from the beach, and one of my girlfriends, she's going to hear this, so I want to say the game is really fun, a super fun game. But she was doing this game, and like we've known each other for 30 years, but we still got to know each other better. And so it
Yeah.
was like, what do you say about this one person? And one person said, she's fearless. And we all were like, yeah, she's fearless.
Yeah.
And then I was like, she ain't fearless.
Mm-hmm.
She's scared. I'm scared. You scared, and you scared. And that's okay.
Mm,
And we have to let that be okay. Now,
mm,
proceed with fear and faith.
mm.
Fearlessness should not keep you from doing something, but proceed with fear,
And
with
faith.
faith, and you can't let it impale you.
Mm,
So you can proceed with fear and faith with it, but you don't have to be fearless. And I
mm,
think we put it so, you have to ask yourself, am I being fearless because somebody expects me to be fearless,
mm,
or am I really fearless? Because if it's the former, that's somebody controlling you. You're
mm,
like trying to live up to somebody else's expectation.
mm.
So you can't do that. And so obviously it's a hot topic for me. It really pisses me off. And it's like we are expected to be fearless. That makes us inhuman. It's like we're like the big Black Amazon woman that
Right.
don't feel nothing. I
Right.
feel a lot, and
Right.
I am allowed to feel a lot. And unless you accept that about me, you don't see me.
Mm,
You don't see me. And in order to
mm.
see all of me, you have to see me.
The humanity.
Yes, the humanity. I'm human. I'm human, and I'm allowed to be afraid.
Mm,
It really irritates me, and I think that we hurt ourselves by saying we have to be fearless, and especially when we teach our girls this. We teach our children, be fearless. And
right.
you walk them into dangerous situations when you
Mm,
tell you walk into a burning house because you're fearless. Walk into a situation with your fear and your faith,
mm-hmm.
but you don't have to be fearless. I think it's dangerous.
Mm. How have you taken that sense of bringing your full humanity to leadership? How have you shown up with your teams that you lead? Because I do think as a leader of teams, there's pressure to always get it right,
Yeah.
know all the answers,
Yeah.
and to have that sort of presence, right, in our
Yes.
power. And I have found in leading teams as a Black woman that sense of I don't want you to see me sweat,
Yeah.
know I'm scared, know that I don't know. And so I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves.
Yes.
And I'm curious for how you've shown up as a leader in corporate.
It's been an evolution for me.
Mm,
It's been an evolution for me. Vulnerability is hard for me.
that's the word for it.
Girl, don't let my family come in here and talk about this. I'll let my husband of nearly 40 years talk about it. Vulnerability is hard for me,
Mm,
but I now find strength in my vulnerability.
mm,
I find freedom in my vulnerability. Um, when I was at an agency before Edelman, a colleague died of cancer. It was very, very difficult. I'd never had that happen in the workplace. And I had to announce her demise at a
mm,
staff meeting, and I couldn't get through it.
mm,
And I just became very emotional, and my deputy had to come in. And my chief of staff later said, and I said, "Oh my God, that was a fiasco. That was
mhm,
horrible." She said, "No, that was actually really good." And she said, "Because people needed to see you like that." And I
mm,
said, "What do you mean?" So she said, it humanized you."
mm,
And she said, "It made you human." And so she said, "Because people don't think," I said, "Well, they think I don't cry." So she said, "Kinda."
mm,
And I found that offensive and weird
mm.
and worrisome. And but it was like because I'm this big black
Yeah.
woman, and so I was like, "Hey, I'm allowed to cry." And so I've gone into other situations where you ask anybody I worked with at Edelman, I have cried in staff meetings.
Mm,
I have been flummoxed. I've been upset. I have said, "I don't know." I have said, "Hey, I'm worried about it too." Because I have grown with a level of freedom.
mm.
But I also have been in rooms where I don't feel comfortable or confident enough or trusting
Or
enough to
trusting.
show that vulnerability.
Right.
And so you got to read the room and figure it out. But ultimately, I'm not going to let anybody control. When I let somebody decide, can I be vulnerable or not, I'm letting somebody control me. And I
Yeah.
just won't do it. But you have to be realistic because, and somebody's like, well, a friend of mine said to me, she said, well, the white boys don't do that. And I was like, well, maybe they should.
Mm,
And I'm not trying to emulate white men.
no.
I'm trying to be me.
Mm,
And maybe they should emulate me because I've been successful.
mm. To lead with the obviously like the knowledge, the strength, but also the humanity
Lead with me.
with
Lead with
you, just who
you.
you are.
Lead with you.
Mm,
That's got to be good enough.
mm-hmm.
It's got to be lead with you. If you are if you are vulnerable, you can't cry all the time, but lead with that. But lead with whoever you are. And I hate the word authenticity because I think it's so
Mm,
overused, but lead with you because when you lead with somebody else, you got to play that game
right.
24/7 to try to remember what mask am I putting on today?
Mm-hmm. It
It's
really is a
too
mask.
much work. So lead with you and just be so good at what you do that they have to acknowledge you.
I was going to say that. Do you think that humanity and vulnerability has hurt you in any way?
Sure.
But
I can answer that
it
now. In some
has.
cases, it has, and in some cases, it's been okay.
Mm,
We can't go through life and we can't go through our professional lives thinking something's not going to hurt us. Something's not
mm.
going to, when people are like, has it held you back? Yeah, something has held me back. Something has hurt me, and other things have advanced me. So
Mm,
it's always a balance. It's always a balance.
yeah. Yeah. No, I really do appreciate your outlook. I Is there any advice you'd give, you think, your younger self about how she shows up?
I think I would worry less.
Oh my God.
God, I know you and I have
Same.
talked about that. I think I would just worry less. I think I would, in honor of D'Angelo, what is it
Oh,
like? Nothing really
D'Angelo.
matters at all.
Nothing really matters at
I mean,
all.
that's what I probably would play that song every morning before I got
Mm,
up and go to work. At the end of the day, nothing really matters at all.
no.
That's what I would have said that to myself more.
Yeah. None of this stuff.
Girl, none of it. Like, your kids are not quite there, but when they get ready to go to college, I remember like the stress that my kids went through and like me trying to explain to them, it doesn't really matter
It
where you
doesn't
go.
really.
Like their grades, like it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Like none of it really matters at the
Yeah.
end of the day. That's what I would have said to myself. Nothing really matters at all.
Mm, mm. I want to transition a bit in our conversation to like beauty
Mm.
and beauty in the workplace, bias that can come with that.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when we met. So we met and it was in like January, February of 24, and we were having drinks at this hotel
Yes.
downtown.
Yeah.
And you told me something that stuck with me. You said something like, "You're very beautiful, and that will not always work
Right.
for you in corporate
Right.
or at work."
Right.
And I remember thinking, huh,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I'd considered it,
Yeah.
right? Because I don't think about it necessarily. Like I'm just doing.
Yes.
But what do you mean by that?
It's not just that you are, it's not just beauty. So, first of all, let's just remember the beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Correct.
But it's not just beauty. And I think this is particular for Black women. You are stylish
Yeah.
and you are vivacious and you are glamorous.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't always work for us.
Like the full
The
package of
full
that does
package.
not.
But that's who you are.
Yeah.
And so you should never change that.
Hmm.
So that's got to be their problem and not your problem.
Hmm.
But what I do find, like real talk, is that when you are packaged as you are, and you should never, ever, ever change it. I never changed it.
Mm-mm.
I never changed it. I would see women, I was just like, my mother would be like, do you need to show your breast at work? And I was like, well, it's just cut low. I can't help it. And, I was like, she was like, well, does it need to be that tight? I was like, as
Yeah.
long as it can be,
Yeah.
it's going to be.
Yeah.
And I've seen also women talk about other women and how they are dressed. And I'm like, stop. You're a hater. Stop.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but you have to recognize that when you decide to be you, there is an extra burden, whether you like it or not. You got to be so good and you have to be so smart because they will try to dismiss you.
Yes.
It's when you walk into a room and they see you, it's just like they want to dismiss you until you open your mouth.
Yes.
And so, but that's what I meant by that.
Yes.
And that's something that I think many women, and I think also for Black women, look, we got to talk about colorism. We got to talk about
that.
Right. Let's talk.
Yeah.
We got to talk about colorism.
Yeah.
We have to talk about how women of a particular hue and women who speak a particular way are accepted in corporate America and others are not. I had a colleague at Edelman. She didn't mean it in a mean way, but she said, you are the right color for them. She said, you are the right color for them. She said, you speak the right way for them. She said that you make them comfortable.
That's what I was going to say.
And I know that that's true until they get to know me, and then they are uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, you're not a comfortable person.
But when when you first meet me, I'm comfortable. But then when you spend time with me, you are uncomfortable. But that's on you again. But and I had a woman that worked. She was somebody I sponsored. Brilliant young woman, brown skin, wore her hair natural. Beautiful figure, but had a figure. And at a retreat at my house, she let my colleagues, a senior level retreat, and she let people know, you all treat me different than the way you treat Lisa. Now, part of it, I wanted to say, well, I am the CEO, and you are not. But her point was, even if I was the same level, you don't let me be myself because I don't look like that. So colorism is a thing amongst us.
Absolutely is.
But also among them.
Yes, it is. Both ways.
Both ways. And so we have to be careful with our sisters and brothers in our community and make sure that colorism is not, it's bad enough that they got to deal with it from them, but we cannot perpetuate it in our own communities. We have to be careful about it.
We do. And we are not always.
And we are not always.
No.
And we are not always. So I think the beauty thing plays both ways. Sometimes also you can walk into a room that other people can't. And so, it plays both ways, but it is what it is.
But ultimately, it's show up as who you are. Just know that
Yes.
you will have to navigate that either way.
Don't ever change yourself for someone else. Don't dress down because somebody expects you to, and don't dress up because somebody expects you to. But I do have a point about, read a room and be appropriate.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, one of my things is honestly like, put some damn clothes on. You've heard me say that. I'm like, put some damn clothes on. You ain't got to do all that, but put some damn clothes on.
Yeah. Is there any advice that you would give women at work on how they're seen versus kind of how they show up? I mean, you mentioned the clothing, right?
Yeah. I don't, I just, I think you have to just be really good
at what you do.
I think you have to like what you do. I think you have to like what you do because when you like what you do, people enjoy working with you. I think you have to I think you have to be honest with people. I think you have to give honest feedback, and you have to hear honest feedback.
Yeah.
I think you have to, this is something that I've had to learn. When you get feedback, even when it's nasty feedback, you have to look for the kernel of truth that's in the feedback.
Mm, mm.
You have to look for the kernel of truth that's in the feedback. If it's not in there, then it's cool. But like I got some racist feedback one time, and then I was just like, but that part's a little bit true. I was like, but you're a racist motherfucker. But I was like, but that there's
With
a
that
little something in
little
there. So but
kernel,
sometimes
uh-huh.
you have to
Oh.
do that, and I think that's hard. And then
Mm,
people always say to me like, what's the best career advice? And I can say it was like, don't be an asshole at work, and don't be
mm.
an asshole.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's what but that is different from be nice. But it's like, don't be an
Just don't be
asshole.
an
Don't be an
asshole.
asshole. It
Mm,
helps.
mm,
But you've got to be really smart. You've got to be, and for us,
mm,
you've got to know how to manage a budget. You have to be able to work with the P&L. You have to, all of these things, you have to, that keeps you from being
mm,
isolated and segregated into a body of work so that you are easily eliminated when there's
mhm.
time for cuts. So you have to understand the business of the business. It's not about dressing up and looking cute and stuff,
Right.
but you've got to get in there and understand the business of the business.
That's extremely good advice.
Yes.
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 Understanding the business of the business. There's not just the subject matter
Yes,
expertise,
right, right,
but it's managing a budget,
right.
being able to run a P&L.
Yes, understand how to manage people,
Mm,
understand how to grow your business. I bet if I asked you, I know what you do, but I bet you know somebody else's job too. So
mhm,
know somebody else's job. Don't be gunning for
mm,
it, but know somebody else's job.
mhm,
But know what I sat in
mm,
on a call recently and I said to myself, that person doesn't know the business. I don't know why they're in that job because they do not know the business.
mm,
So you have to like immerse yourself, but don't let it be your life.
mm. You mean work.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah.
How did you navigate that? Having really powerful roles. Your husband also
Yeah. My
did.
husband's a badass. Yeah.
Right, so he's also a badass. You all have 2
Yeah.
kids,
Well, they're
which,
grown now,
I
but
mean,
yeah,
they're
they're
grown
still my
and out of the
babies.
house.
Yeah. They're still little babies.
But they weren't always. How did
No.
you make work not your life? And because I will say I struggle with that.
Yeah. We've talked about that.
Yeah.
You know, one of the questions that you asked me about that I'm going to answer now is because I've started with this.
Mm,
My epithet, and I just said this to my daughter, I will be remembered as a remarkable daughter.
mm,
My father died the year I graduated from college.
mm.
So from down here, he was not able to see what I did, but up here he was.
Yes.
My mother was my muse, my mentor, my everything until she took her last breath, and I was with her, 11 years ago.
Mm,
Um, she was remarkable,
mm,
and she was my everything. And I was remarkable, and she said to me, "You will always be blessed because you have blessed me."
oh, my.
So, but what I've said to people is, what I want to be remembered for. I was a remarkable daughter. I'm the best mother ever. You ask my kids, I am like the best mother ever. I'm an amazing friend.
Mm.
I am a decent wife. I'm decent. I could probably
You're
do some
like, I
work
get
in
a
that area.
B.
I get a B, but I was clear on my priorities, and that's why I was able to do those things.
Mm,
And I'm a successful business person, but Naya, I would have probably been a CEO earlier in my career, but I had a family to raise.
right.
I had a mother to take care of. I have siblings. I have a community. I found, I helped to found a foundation here in DC.
Yes.
And so I wanted a full life,
Mm,
and I wanted to travel, and I wanted to have fun. And so you have to make choices.
mm,
You make choices. And so I made choices. And you can't have everything all the time at the same time. And that's how I was able to do it. And I had help at home.
you had help at home
I had
too.
help at home, absolutely. And I had a husband and a partner that understood we wanted the same things and we balanced each other out. So there were times where he was 24/7 and then I
Mm,
couldn't be. And there were times where I was 24/7 and he couldn't be. And we just supported each other in that. That's one of the things I will say to people. If you
mm,
decide to partner well. And if you decide to have children, partner well, because that will help you.
It determines so much who
Oh
we
my
decide to
God.
partner with.
Yes. Yeah.
Like literally the trajectory of so much. I have a good friend who I always remember her saying, marry from the neck up.
Mm,
She's like,
mm.
don't marry from the neck down, marry from the neck
Yes,
up.
yes. And also, if you choose not to marry,
And if you choose
and
not
if
to
you choose
marry,
not to marry, like I don't believe marriage is for everyone.
no, I don't
I
either.
don't believe marriage is for everyone. And I believe that you can be single and happy and fulfilled, but whatever you decide to do,
Mm,
realize you may not have everything all the time at the same time.
mm,
Make choices, make decisions, and effing live with them
mm,
and be happy about it and keep it moving.
mm. Remember Michelle Obama saying, you can have it all, just not at the same damn
Yes,
time.
right, right.
Yeah.
And you know what? I even challenge that. Some people can at the same time. I wasn't
Mm,
one of them, but
mm-hmm,
some people can at the same time. It just depends. It all depends and it
mm,
all varies. And you can't compare yourself to other people and this person's doing that. It's just what works for you at this time,
mm,
period.
mm. So I want to transition to talking about corporate culture,
Yeah.
systemic realities. And you texted me a couple of months
Ooh,
ago a
yeah.
Harvard study,
Hmm.
which I had seen and I have literally been obsessed with ever since I saw it. But you had texted me a reel on Instagram about a Harvard study that was published 2 years ago about the effects of white coworkers on the outcomes of Black women's careers, specifically
Yeah.
Black women's careers. So this study looked at over 9,000 inexperienced junior professionals at large elite professional services
Hmm.
firms. And it looked at them for 6 years. So it followed them longitudinal research study for many years. And it found that when Black women specifically work on teams with mostly white people, they are more likely to, one, be labeled as low performers,
Hmm.
and two, leave.
Yeah.
And that the same impacts were not seen across Black men, Hispanic, Latinx people, Asian men or women. It was specifically
Black
Black
women.
women.
Hmm.
And so much of that, when I saw it, resonates with my experience, the experience of so many other women that I know. What do you think about that? What are your reflections on that study?
I've seen it.
Mm,
I've experienced it. I think it's valid. That's why I sent it to you.
yes.
I worry about it. I think that there's other similar studies that say that Black women in the workplace are labeled. It's difficult to work with. We are labeled as what is it? I can't talk to her. Um, uh, she, yeah, she's difficult. She's mean. She does. I can't. It's I can't. It's all
Mm-hmm.
negative stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think this is our role in society, though. It is the way that we are viewed in society.
Mm-hmm.
And you've heard this data point that Black women are the most disrespected women in society. I take such offense by that, and also that Black women are the most unappreciated.
Mm-hmm.
In my world, I'm always stunned by that. I was like, I thought we were the best.
We are the
I'm
best.
always, I'm like, what Black women? I am so taken aback when I
Yeah.
see that. I'm like, I thought we were the queens.
Yeah.
I thought we were the best. I thought everybody was trying to be like us.
They are.
I think that's why you see that data. I
Mm.
think that's why you see that data because they are. I mean, that's why I think but so much is like how you
Huh.
see yourself.
Yes.
And I think I'm always confused when I see that. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
I thought we were the most beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I thought we were the most talented. I thought, no shade on anybody else.
Of course.
But so I'm always taken aback. But I think because we come into a room with all of this,
Yeah.
people either love it or they are intimidated by it,
Mm.
and it makes them uncomfortable.
Mm.
And I think, it's unfortunate that Black men have to do so much. I worked with so many Black men
Mm.
in corporate America who have said, I have to make myself small to just be in the room.
My husband talks about that.
Right. I have to do X, Y, and Z just to keep them from being afraid of me.
Mm-hmm.
I've said to some Black colleagues, why are you doing that to Black men? I'm like, why don't you walk into the room the way you are with me? They're like, Lisa, I can't do that. I would scare the shit out of them. So
Mhm.
I've got to put all of this on so they can even hear what I'm saying.
Wow.
And so I think that that's a reality for many Black men. I
Mhm.
think many Black women either don't know how or are unwilling to do that. No shade again, because everybody got to survive,
Mhm.
but I think either many Black women don't know how to do it
Hmm.
or are unwilling to do it or don't do it well.
Hmm.
And I think that maybe that's why we are ostracized. And I think in some cases we're easy targets.
Mm.
I don't know, but I agree with it.
Yeah.
And I could, if I had, I'd have a million more bucks if I knew,
She said more
why.
bucks.
If I knew why.
Yeah. Well, it's the combination
Yeah, it's
of
a combination
racism
of
and
all of that. Yeah,
misogyny.
yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
I think we sit at the nexus of it in many cases.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
again, it's how you see yourself. I think again, I'm shocked when I hear these things. I'm like, who are they talking
Who are they
about?
talking
Who are they?
about?
They're not talking about me and Naya, are they?
No, couldn't
Yeah,
be.
yeah, they couldn't be. I'm like, what?
Yeah. But the outlook that you have influences so much because you see the stat, you see the outcomes of the study, and you go, "Yes, that's the reality, but I am confused.
Yeah,
I
right.
am utterly
I am.
confused."
It's true.
Wow.
Naya, that's why it's so important when we talk about like when you're raising children.
Yes.
When you are raising children, and it's why
Hmm.
why I believe why I'm not a joiner. I'm an AKA, which is a big part of me.
Hmm.
But I'm not a joiner, but I do believe in professional organizations and ways where we can lift each other up and support each other because I think we need that. We need that affirmation
Hmm.
so that we can have this outlook. But so much of success,
Hmm.
so much of happiness is in here. It's so
Hmm.
much of it is in here. And because when you wait for external affirmation, you wait for somebody to tell you or show you or say atta boy or whatever to tell you that you're beautiful, to tell you that you're smart.
Yeah.
You've got to walk into that believing all of
All
that. And
those
I
things.
think like to your point, I remember when Donald Trump won in the first election.
Oh
And
Lord.
having worked for Hillary Clinton, I was at APCO at the time and I was in the queue to do all of this media. And like every other agency, we were up the night before, like redoing our talking points. And like I was like not needed to be doing any morning shows because I didn't work, I didn't know anything about Donald Trump. And so I
Mhm.
had worked for Hillary Clinton. So I was all prepared to do that. And we were doing my assistant at the time could not stop crying. She just would
Mm.
not stop crying. It was the first time she had voted Democratic.
Mm.
Democratic. She was from a family of Republicans,
Mm.
and she just couldn't stop crying. And so we got through the morning. We were going out, and then we saw these people running down the street, and they were like, "Donald Trump won!"
And they were
And
excited.
they were excited. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And so she started crying again. I was like, "Lindsay, you got to stop that crying. Stop that crying." She said, "They were just so mean to you." And I said, "Was that directed at me?" And three other people were with us, and they all said, "Yeah."
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, my bad. I know that was directed at me." But
Wow.
again, I'm like, "Fuck it, that was directed at me. I don't give
Yeah.
a." I was like, "I'm good."
Yeah.
And so, but I think again, the outlook.
Mhm.
Now that could have pierced someone else. That could have
Mm.
pierced someone else, and they would have gotten in their car and sobbed. But for me, I was like,
Mm.
"Oh, okay. I mean, I'll deal with that, but okay." But I think it's the outlook, which is
Mm.
why being in these environments, whether it's a school environment, an academic environment, whether it's your church environment, whether it's the first question you asked, your home
Mm.
has got to be a place where you receive affirmation, confirmation, support, beauty, belief of who you are. And too many of us wait to get to the workplace and
Mm.
we're waiting for somebody to tell us that we're great. You got to know you're great before you get in there.
Mm. And if you don't have that affirmation and confidence building in the early home environment, you've got to build it along the
Absolutely.
way
Right.
yourself.
Right. Right. Or surround yourself with people who will give it to you
Mm.
and that you give it to them.
Mm. You're like, I love that. You're like, I didn't even know. That goes to what you were saying earlier about a lot just kind of going
Yeah,
over
yeah.
your
It's kind
head
of a
or fall.
blessing. I mean, it's kind of, my family used to call me Lucy. They were like,
Mm.
"Lucy, wake up." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, got it."
Oh gosh, I really do love that. You resigned from Edelman as the US CEO, and you are in another phase. And I'm curious, what has been keeping you busy in this phase of life? What do you think is next for you? Where are you now?
Um, Peace.
Mm.
I was thinking about it the other day, and when you sent me these questions, and I was like, "Girl, you're making me think about some stuff here." I was like, "I thought we were just gonna be sitting here chatting." Like I even put clothes on, like we were gonna sit here chatting. You came in like again
No, we
glamorous,
gotta
and
work.
I was like, "Shit, we're working
We came
here."
to work.
I I I I am where I started,
Hmm.
and that is, it is important to me to make a difference. It is important to me to have impact. It is important to me to have outcomes. And I look at the world that we are experiencing right now, and I am counseling a number of nonprofits. I'm
Hmm.
counseling a number of advocacy organizations. Um, um, and I hear myself on the phone, and I am dropping gems,
Mm.
and I feel so good about it.
Mm.
That is helping them to craft narrative and craft language and to position themselves to have an impact
Right.
and to try to change the trajectory that we are in, and to try to get in this fight and to try to improve things for those people who are really suffering,
Mm.
and for people who are not being seen, and for people who are being dismissed. And this is I am a moderate in terms of my of probably of my politics, but I believe in balance, and I believe in equity, and I believe in fairness. And what I see happening in the world right now sickens me.
Oh.
And I have a right and a responsibility and an opportunity
Mm.
to make change in big ways and small.
Mm.
And I'm really enjoying doing that. And I glean such satisfaction from some of the work that I'm doing in that space. I'm on a number of boards. The um, Robert F. Kennedy Human Rights Board, Congressional Black Caucus Board. Just came from New Orleans for the Loyola University
Mm.
Board, the National Partnership for Women and Families.
Mm.
Uh, what's Meridian Board here in DC. Kelly Robinson was one of the brightest, most vibrant leaders I've ever experienced at
Mm.
HRC Human Rights Campaign. Is somebody that I'm very, very supportive of, and work with closely. There's a brilliant, I would be generous and call him young man named Damon Martin, who has started a company called Well Withal to look at health equity,
Mm.
particularly among Black and Brown people. Um, and I'm affiliated with ELC, the
Mm.
Executive Leadership
Mhm.
Council, and a lot of the things that they are doing to really showcase cases that make sense for the business community and the role of Black people
Mm.
in the business community leading change. And so I'm feeling very, with the first part of the conversation, you said, this is hard, and it is hard, but girl, we have seen worse,
We've seen
and
worse.
we will get through this.
Mm.
And you cannot erase us. You cannot erase the impact that we have and that we will continue to have on society. You just can't. And so
Mm.
this is hard, but we'll get through it. And I feel like I'm having an impact in some of the conversations, some of the counsel that I'm providing.
You're very busy. It's a lot of boards.
I know, kind of, right? Yeah.
You just kept going.
Yeah, I know. Right? I heard it. I heard myself. I was like, when are you going to stop?
And my question to you was going to be, how are you wielding your power for good in this
Yeah.
chapter of your life? And
I guess
that's
that was it. Yeah.
hmm
But I also want to say that I also am I'm traveling. I just came back from Portugal
mm,
for my birthday, and my husband and I have a place in Lewis, and we go back and forth. Both of our kids are here. My husband, my son, and his wife are in Tacoma Park, and I see them as often as I can. My
mm,
daughter's in Brookland, and my family remains the most important thing to me. I see my in-laws as often as I can. I have three older brothers.
mm,
my brother Peter remains my best friend. He's still in this area. And I have an amazing, amazing group of friends. And so there's a richness to my life. My faith is important to me, so I practice that. And there's a richness to my life that I really am very appreciative of right now.
It's like you've built a whole life and a full life.
Yes.
And I find that people ascend to where you have, and then so much of it is just about the job. And they don't have successful marriages, and maybe they don't speak with their children, or it seems like they made decisions that were solely focused on getting to that spot. And you have gotten to that spot and been very successful, but you've done it in a way that is more well-rounded and like holistic, and it feels happier and healthier.
You
for you.
spend time on the things that are important to you. And work has always been important to me, but it's never been the most important thing.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that made me very happy early in my career when my children were younger, and one of my best friends, Stephanie, says to me, I was struggling with something like maybe 10 years ago. She said, remember, you're the woman that always stopped to go for pizza lunch. And I said, oh my God, thank you for reminding me. She
Right.
said, I was like really struggling. She said, remember, we worked together at the Labor Department in the Clinton administration. And she said, remember, you're the girl who always stopped to go for pizza lunch. And I was like, thank you for
Like,
reminding
thank
me.
you for reminding
Thank you for
me.
reminding me. So I knew what decision to make.
Yeah, I can
So,
always slow
yeah,
down.
I can always, and there's something
Mm,
about slowing down and
mm,
just like taking it in.
mm, mm. Thank you so much for your time today,
Oh, I had
Lisa.
so
Oh
much
my gosh,
fun.
so much fun. Where can my Black Girl Ambition listeners find you on socials?
Girl, I am not on any social media.
You're on LinkedIn.
I'm on LinkedIn, but somebody sent me a message on LinkedIn. I was like, oh, I rarely look at LinkedIn. I'm not, I guess on LinkedIn, I will
Okay.
send me a message on LinkedIn, and every 6 months I'll check it and take a look at it. And yeah, on LinkedIn. I have an Instagram post that has my dog on it,
Okay.
and I check that every once in a while. But I am on LinkedIn, I probably is the best thing to
Okay.
do. And but let me just say to you, you are a gem.
Oh, thank
You
you,
are a gem
Lisa.
for creating this environment, for creating this forum for
Thank you.
women. And one of your questions that you didn't ask
Mm.
me in that long ass list that you sent me was, why do I feel good about the future?
Mm.
And if I do, why? And I feel good about the future because of women like you,
Mm.
and women like Rachel, and women like Claire, my daughter,
Yeah.
and women like Lori Leslie and
Yeah.
Regina Russell. There's so many of you, and what you are doing in creating this forum and taking time out of your life,
Mm.
your busy life with your children and your work and your everything,
Mm.
to realize that women like us need a place to talk and to be comfortable and to be free.
Mm.
And so I am super appreciative for you for doing this and for giving of yourself and your time and your talent.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
I
Thank you so much.
I adore you, and I'm proud of you, and I will always be here for you, and I can't wait to see what you do next.
Oh my gosh. It's not supposed to make me cry. Thank you, Lisa. So, the last question that I ask all of my Black Girl Ambition
Okay.
listeners, I will ask you too.
All right.
And this was also in my very long ass
Okay.
outline that I shared. Lisa, what is your greatest ambition?
To live for today,
Mm.
to not worry about what happened yesterday, to not worry about what's going to happen tomorrow, but to be present today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sweetie.
Overzealous when I'm thinking about the cash flow. I never had no handouts, just came natural. I've been tested so much, all these wrestlers nice.